Welcome to Kids Book Buzz, a children's book club where you read the book in the spotlight and submit any questions you have about the book or the creative who created it. I'm your host, Kirsty Lightfoot, Vice President of CBCA WA, and today we're exploring The Greatest Thing by Winifred Searle. How are you?
I'm all right. It's a little warm out today. How are you?
Yeah, warm. Thank you so much for being here. The Greatest Thing is an incredible graphic novel that was shortlisted for the 2023 CBCA Book of the Year Older Reader category. Winifred Searle is an award-winning writer and artist of comic and prose. Sarah's writing and art is an inspection of the human condition and the trials we face and the importance of owning who we are and loving ourselves. And I adore your work. So thank you again for being here. Are you excited to explore The Greatest Thing with Book Buzz today?
I'm mostly excited about you saying such nice things to me. I'm like, oh, I needed that.
Oh, good. I'm glad. It was one I'm very excited about. I'm going to tell you how much I love this book, but we do have questions from others too. But yes, there'll be this underpinning of like, this is amazing.
Thank you.
Well, let's start with the shortlist. So you were shortlisted 2023. How did that feel? What does it mean to you? What has like the CBCA process been? And obviously being a graphic novel as well that's been shortlisted. Do you mind talking about just that kind of moment in time and the follow-on from it as well?
Yeah, sure. So as you can probably tell from my accent, I'm not from here. I'm from the US, and something that happened when I moved here is so I moved here in 2016, and I've been making books since then. I mean, before I moved here too. But I guess something that this did was like, when I moved here, it was like I was an author, but I was like a visiting author, kind of. Like, I hadn't cemented the fact that like, I live here. This is where I want to stay. Like, I love living here. Like,
Please keep me, yes.
Yes, this is my home. And I'm very fortunate to get to work with some really wonderful American publishers, but I kind of had yet to build, establish myself in Australia as an author who intends to stay here. And this really changed that for me. Really the big thing was the fact that Allen and Unwin, so this book was originally published by First Second, which is a Macmillan imprint in the U.S., and then Allen and Unwin did an Australian edition, which is how it became eligible for the CBCA Awards. And really that whole thing just all wrapped up together just completely changed my life, honestly. Now it's like, I don't know, it's like I actually fully live here and fully exist here as like a human being and as an author. And it's been wonderful. I've gotten to meet so many more people and learn a lot about the industry, and I hear more from readers, which is one of my favorite things. And yeah, it's just been really wonderful and such an honor. And it's made my life really nice.
That's
lately.
Awesome. And it's so great to have you submit yourself in. So it's something that comes up a lot with creatives and even kids. Like the West Australian literature environment is just, it's awesome. Like there's book launches and kids go to book launches, and there's so much support for all of like authors and illustrators and just artists and creatives. And there's a really nice, buy-in from kids, obviously with this program, but other programs as well. So it's nice that you're like in it, and that helped kind of kickstart you're here and this is the space that you're working in. Yeah.
And just, I don't know, I've gotten to meet so many cool people, like people who make books and people who appreciate books, and I don't know. It's been exciting seeing my community grow. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think we're isolated, so we all just like find each other. You would have been found eventually, I'm sure, but it's nice that this was the way to do it. Well, I mean, the shortlist obviously I think just helps get books into libraries and books into homes, but it's one that I would love to see people pick up whether it's shortlisted or not. And I think that they are, and I think it sits so well as a young adult graphic novel. It took me back to being a teacher and teenager, but teenager mainly. And a lot of the comments I think I felt, but also people around me have said about it, is like how accurate and true it is to the teen experience, and it just feels so heartfelt. So how did it feel writing it? Because I know in the author notes you do give a lot of yourself, and you explain that Winifred is a reference of you and the things that you remember. Did that make it easier, more difficult? Like, how was the writing process for you?
So the book is just like a pretty straightforward linear series of events, but there is narration over it, where it's like current me kind of narrating a little bit. It doesn't carry you through all of the actions and moments, but it's there as just kind of this voice of like retrospection, I guess, and things. There were a lot of things that in the moment I didn't realize what was happening. And then 10 or 15 or 20 years later, I was like, that's what was happening when that person said that thing. And I had no idea, but I have the benefit of time and reflection to be able to like at the very end, there's this big conversation that Win has with one of her best friends, April. And in the moment, I had no idea what she was doing when she was kind of prompting me with questions. And I was able to go in and be like, this is where it becomes a fictionalized memoir, because in the moment, I wasn't able to have as constructive a moment because I didn't understand what she was trying to do.
Yeah.
But in this book, I was able to do that, and I think that makes it a better book and a better story as something that I will hand to someone else and be like it's okay to be messy, but sometimes you gotta like
Polish
tie
those.
up the plot threads so that someone else can make sense of it and hopefully learn from my mistakes a little bit.
Of course. And it's a powerful moment, but it's a powerful book in that vulnerability as well. Like it doesn't feel like it's 100%, like you said, a biography, but you can tell that there is this person behind it, and there's these friends and the support network, and the hindsight comes across as well in the narration as well. What tips do you have for budding comic artists? Because you do kind of center as like comic, which I know you've done other works. I know you talk about creating zines and building comics as you were a teen. So a lot of kids do align graphic novels and comics do intermingle. There's obviously differences as well, but a lot of kids look at themselves as like they want to be comic artists. So what do you have for that? How do you encourage those artists?
I think the best thing I did when I was a student and wanting to make comics was the fact that I actually made comics. It's very easy to get stuck in the trap of like cool ideas, and you really will never get comfortable making comics and improve at making comics until you are actually making them. So even if like it can be a little hard to start, like maybe you're like, oh, but I have this cool idea and I won't do it justice, like if I do it with my current skill level, or maybe you get a little stuck in your head about like the plot points, or you're not sure if your drawing skills are quite what you want them to be. But really you just have to start, because then once you've made a bunch of things, like your skills will improve from practice and from hearing feedback from your friends and your readers. And
Just doing
recommend that.
No, that's a really good piece of advice, because it sometimes gets overlooked. It's like, oh, brainstorm, think, but we can get stuck in thinking sometimes. And you see kids who like I help run like writing awards and different awards like that. And sometimes that deadline is not about the award, but just having a purpose to get going is a really big thing for kids, because you could live in your ideas forever. And young people are so imaginative. It's amazing to see what does come out when they start. So that's really wonderful advice.
And like, not everything has to be a masterpiece. So just remember that. It's okay to make a whole bunch of things, and some of them you'll feel better about than other things. And that's very normal. I still feel that way, and I'm like a professional. So it's just accept the discomfort. You just got to make things and grow. And as you grow, you will have different feelings about the stuff you've made. And that's normal and good.
Speaking of stuff made, we talk about zines, and I have a love for zines. We've done them in libraries in very little ways. I've seen them done in libraries in bigger ways, and I just think it's a great entry point for kids to write about things that they'd love to see. What kind of zines do you like to see out in the world? Like, what kind of inspires you when you see kids making, zines?
Ooh, I really love like so many kinds of zines. It's really hard to like list. I like a lot of variety. I love it when a zine makes me excited about something that I wouldn't normally think. Like maybe it's someone's like making a zine about a show that they love and they want other people to love it too. Like I love that sort of thing. I really love original story zines. Those are probably my favorite, I guess, when I see someone just like, take a crack at writing and drawing their own idea and just like having fun with it. Like I can tell sometimes when like someone's had a lot of fun with something, and that's like, it's infectious, you know? It makes me really excited to go make things.
Part of the podcast has also been that we've been so graciously sponsored by Healthway, and they do a program called Fuel to Go and Play, and that links into book weeks and all those amazing programs we do get to run. And the idea with Fuel to Go and Play is talking more about just how we live our lives and how we just nourish ourselves and how we move versus, you know, eating the exact right thing or going on a massive run. Like, you know, it's more about the way we fuel our world versus specific things. So if you're okay, I'd like to do a snack attack, because I always like finding out how people live their lives. So
Sure.
What is your favorite go-to kind of balanced meal, or one that nourishes you, or one that, you know, lifts you up? What's your favorite meal?
I don't know if this is an American thing, but do you have like stuffed capsicum here?
We do, yes.
Yeah, so like I really love, because you can put anything in a capsicum and it becomes, it's like my favorite vegetable. I think it's also technically a fruit, so it might also be my favorite fruit. But like, I don't know, like you put anything in it and then the whole thing becomes exciting. So then I'm like having lots of veggie, but also like whatever is inside it.
What do you do to move your body, to get outdoors, to add movement into your day? Like, what do you do?
I like the game Ring Fit, which is like
Awesome.
a Nintendo Switch game. I am not sponsored by them. I just play the game sometimes, but it's hard for me, like, because I'm from quite a cold place in comparison to here. I struggle to get out during the summer, so that makes sure that I stay moving through the summer a bit. And because then once like autumn hits, I get excited to go outside again, because like this is such an amazingly beautiful place to live, and like there's 100 amazing walks that are like an easy drive from my house or an easy bus ride from my house. So yeah, winter is easier on that front for sure.
Yeah. And what does your workday look like for you? Like, you know, snacks and breaks, and how do you kind of shape your day around your work? Because it is such an intense job. It's something you focus on. You have these really big kind of, intense focus moments.
I usually, something that's nice about directing your own work schedule is I very rarely wake up to an alarm, and I think sleeping until my body decides it's done sleeping is important for like my personal well-being, because I have trouble falling asleep at night sometimes and stuff. So I wake up when my body feels like it, and usually like I do like my errands and my active stuff earlier in the day, because my husband works a late schedule, so like he goes to work like in the afternoon, so the morning is kind of like I get to have fun and procrastinate my work and stuff. So that's when like I might cook a nice breakfast, or like I really like fruit, but it's kind of labor intensive to have to like cut up 100 things and make a fruit salad. So that's what like morning is for, to like do this stuff, and like so that I don't have to deal with it when I eventually sit down for work around like, sometimes it's noon, sometimes it's more like 2:00 or something, depending on when he goes to work. But once I do, I like, if I'm in the groove, I get in the zone and I do not want to stop. And
snacks on hand, like you've prepped, you've got your fruit salad ready, and
yes, like I've already figured out what dinner is going to be. It's already like mostly squared away, so it won't like disrupt my workflow.
Yep.
But I do like something that cartoonists, I think in particular, like to do is share like tips on like stretches and things, because like it's actually a very labor-intensive job. Like art in general can be quite hard on your body, so you need to remember to take breaks. And I have a lot of friends who even have like really strict alarms that they set for themselves so that they remember to stand up and stretch and drink some water and not turn into a husk.
Yes.
So I take a lot of tips and try a lot of things to kind of change that up.
What's your favorite place?
These days, something that I've been doing as a treat to myself, because I actually noticed that I wasn't moving enough and I wasn't going outside enough, and my doctor was like, you are vitamin D deficient, please get 10 minutes of sunshine a day. And I was like, how do I do that? Is I volunteer for a rescue, And sometimes they'll like get a report that there are feral cats somewhere and they just need someone to check on them and make sure that they have water until they're able to like trap them and bring them somewhere safe. So sometimes I'll get my sunshine and a walk in and I'll bring them water. So lately I've been doing something like that by a beach, and it's nice to just be like, I'm going to the beach today, and have like a reason to do it. So I feel like I'm not just procrastinating. I'm like doing it.
I have to do this. Yeah.
So the beach has been really nice lately.
What's your favorite word?
I've been really struggling with this one. There are too many good words. This is maybe a silly one, but I really love the word kitty. It's like really satisfying to say. Yeah. And I named one of my cats Kitty, and people are like, that's like, you're a writer, you should come up with a more interesting pet name. And I was like, but come up with a more satisfying name to call a creature, a little cute creature, than Kitty. It's just like...
I'm with you. What's your favorite children's book?
So when I was making this book, so another young adult graphic novel that I love is called This One Summer. It's by Mariko and Jillian Tamaki, and it's good for a similar age group. So if you read this and enjoyed it, I definitely recommend that. But also, like, I read it when I was like 30, and I also loved it. So like, you can enjoy it at, well, maybe not any age. I think there's like, it's like 13 and up or something. Yeah, teen and up. But it's like it's an incredibly beautifully drawn book. And then the story is quite nuanced. And it's just really lovely. And I highly recommend it.
I'm going to add it to my list. I haven't heard about it. So now I'm like, great, adding that one to my list. And a good piece of advice you've been given.
You want to enjoy what you're doing. Like when you're writing and drawing something, people can often tell if you had fun or if it was a slog. Yeah. Like you want what you're spending all this time on to be something that gives you joy and motivates you to keep working on it. So just like working on things that make me happy. And yeah, because sometimes when you like thinking about what to follow up this book with, it was really hard to come up with my next YA title, because it was like, oh, do I go really serious again, or do I go for something more fun? And not that parts of this weren't fun, but it was like a little stressful at times. So I was like, okay, what's just like something a bit lighter? And I decided to look after my own well-being and make something that felt like more of a treat to work on. So
I'm so excited. That leads so perfectly into what's next. So very excited. I'm saving that in my calendar. What else have you been working on?
Well, that's really the big one. I finished it just this past year. So right now we're prepping for that to come out. That's in October when it's coming out. So it's a little ways away. Right now we're working on kind of like preparing for release and stuff.
Thank you so much for your time, Sarah. It's been so lovely to chat to you, and congratulations again on the shortlist. And I just hope that it promotes that book to be in schools and libraries, and we get into the hands of so many kids, because I do just think it's a really important one for everybody, and I think it is a really genuine teen experience. We're going to be doing a few more books coming up, so hopefully you'll listen to some of our other ones too. There's always some great new ones to read. But you've just been such an incredible guest, so thank you so much.
Thank you.